Howdy, y'all. Welcome to another episode of CardBlitz, joined by my good buddy Patrick and Uncle Rich. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Good, Kelly. Good,
It's
thank
it's
you.
a one it's a wonderful night in the neighborhood.
Definitely,
That's
man.
right.
Anytime you're talking cards, the hobby, it is a good night, Rich.
Yeah, and I mean we're taping this. I have some minor reasons. I'm not at the National as we're taping this, which is okay. And it's fine because I'm in at this point in my life, I'm almost at the been there, done that part of my life.
Well,
Yeah.
you're a
You know,
minor,
I've been to
Rich. That's the
30
first thing I
some
was going to
30
ask
some
you.
odd nationals. It's okay.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, man. If you're going through a bit of FOMO, and if not, and when do you think that the National can make its way back to the Metroplex?
It probably won't. I wish it would. But
Uh,
we have the Dallas card show 6 times a year with 600 to 700 tables. NTX has 300 tables 6 times a year. I am not, in fact, at the last show, I did so well buying. I had to borrow money from Dr. Beckett to finish a purchase.
nice.
Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
mean,
cool.
and it was really good, older stuff. The person had posted on Facebook he was going to have a good dollar box, and and if you buy X amount, he reduces the price, and he did. And I pulled so many cards. I finished pricing everything, so I know I did well. But a lot of times when I buy the vintage, I buy it even if it's going to be an off quality because I know at that price point I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
And so I pulled out, let's just say I pulled out nearly 500 cards from the dollar box. And and he gives a fair discount when you pull that many. So it wasn't $500, but it pretty much tapped the budget. And
I hear
and
you.
the Dallas, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to buy better at the National.
No, I'm curious. How many tables at the National? Like
National it has like 1,200 booths, so it's probably about
1,200? Okay.
2,500 to 3,000
Is it
tables.
possible to see all those dealers more than twice in one weekend? I mean, that seems like a lot. I,
It
I like your
is,
idea of the
but you have
Dallas.
see so seeing and spending time are two very different things.
Yes, right. Right. Okay.
You can see every table. You can walk your way through the show in one day. You can still walk your way through the show, even that big in one day, but you won't get a lot done if all you're doing is walking to just do the walk, other than getting some nice leg exercising. And if you're carrying a bag or a backpack, some nice cardio. But so you really do, if possible, need to spend 2 to 3 to 4 days there.
Okay.
But you also end up figuring out, just like the Dallas Card Show. I've got the Dallas Card Show at 700 tables. I was done Friday night with
Okay.
all the tables I really wanted. If I missed something, it wasn't a big deal. I had tapped out. And I honestly, they're nice to me at the Dallas Card Show. I want to be honest, and they let me in early. And so I was tapped out Friday, and I tapped out of everybody I wanted to see. So I can do the Dallas Card Show in about 12 to 14 total hours
Okay. Well, in the worst
and
case
see
scenario,
everybody I want to see.
yeah, you'll see him
And
in
that's the thing, see everybody I want to see.
yeah. Yeah.
And there are people I do see too, because when you're walking or you're talking, they know where you are. And most of the people who dig through the value boxes know each other. So we are our own little group with it. We're our own little niche within the Dallas Card Show.
I'd love to dig through some value boxes with you one day because I love the value boxes. They're great.
We'll come to the Dallas Card Show. I'll tell you which ones we'll go through.
I mean, you can pick up like 85 tops Kirby Puckett rookie for like $3 sometimes. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? This is crazy. No, it's like no one wants that. I was like, this is great. So
I had so many Kirby Puckett rookies at one time because somehow one of the dealers I knew back in the 80s in the New York metropolitan area, he knew people at Tops, and for whatever reason, he seemingly had an unending supply of Kirby Puckett rookies. So I never ran out of Kirby Puckett rookies.
yeah,
And I'm not
yeah.
complaining, mind you, it was a very popular card. I'm just saying I never ran out.
Yeah, and it's great, a great player. But that leads me to a question. I was like, so the 80s are getting hot again. So I mean, as they were back in the 80s, I guess. Which 80s set would you try to complete if you had a chance to? I mean, do you like the 85 tops, or is there one that really drives, one that you kind of
If I
look
was
for?
going to complete a set, if I was going to actually try to build a set to complete, I honestly the hardest one to do. I mean, among the base, flagship type sets, I would probably do 84 Donruss just
Yeah,
because it's such a
yeah.
beautiful set. That would be the one I would do on a card by card basis just to enjoy doing them. 80 tops is probably slightly the most difficult of the group. None of them are impossible, mind you. The most difficult part of any of this is going to be finding the more common cards because the ROI, the return on investment now at a show of carrying 80s commons
Oh
with
yeah.
you to a show is not good. You're not gonna carry 80s commons. And I honestly think, and I've talked about this with Dr. Beckett on his podcast. I honestly think a store might survive even if they don't have the Fanatics allotment, and they have to do some other. I think a well done singles based store would work in the Dallas Fort Worth area because
Hmm.
there's a need for people to go and see if they want to buy 84 Donruss Commons or 84 Donruss Stars or 86 tops or 88 tops or 88 Fleer or 89 Upper Deck. 89 Upper Deck's a beautiful set.
Yep.
Once you get Griffey, you're almost home free. There's a few other good rookies. And
Yeah.
then you want to do some completists. But in reality, any set, if you're chasing it by singles, it's going to be hard doing it at the shows and the stores in the Dallas Fort Worth area and a lot of other stores. And that's why I think there's a market for a store that can do vintage, let's say in numerical order, and then modern cards by team or by player or both. Because after a certain point, they're not going to chase, most people don't chase sets after whatever year it is.
Yeah.
You pick whatever random year you want to end with. So they're not going to chase that, but they may be buying the Yankees or the Rangers or the Mets or the Dodgers or whatever team it is or the Minnesota Twins. And there's a market to do things like that. Knicks did great for all those years. When I used to go into Knicks when he and Debbie owned the store, they had wonderful vintage cards behind the counter for the most part. And they had, sitting out front, they had cards by players and by teams. If it was a book value up to $3, everything was 50 cents each. So you knew you could buy some good cards. And then really better cards were in the showcases. And they had a decent assortment of unopened as well. But Nick's was as much as a store that sold singles as anywhere else. And he's now passed, but Al, who owned Triple Cards, had the wall of commons when you went into the store. So we had stores, and I want to say this too. In today's world, when Al sold, when the team from that's now Wax sold the wall of commons, I agreed with that on a business level. Instead of having to do harder work for less money, they were able to get their supplies onto a bigger stage. It's easier to figure out what supplies you need, and it was a better utilization of space for dollars. So on a business level, I agreed 100%. On a personal level, I miss stores like that, but on a
Yeah,
business
right.
level, you can't disagree.
Are you familiar with Common Card Warehouse in, I think it's New Jersey? You ever come
No,
across
but
that?
that would be a great place.
Oh,
I've never come across it, but I will tell you, there's a ton of cards in New Jersey, having grown up
wow.
there.
I
So
mean,
that's
this
the
guy's got to
perfect
have
place
like,
to have
he's got
common.
to have a warehouse of 100,000 square feet full of like bazillion commons. I mean, it's great. So,
Well, Rich, let me do
Yeah,
this
and there
with
are
you, man.
online. I work for ComC. We have tons of commons available for sale at reasonable prices. You can go to other sites as well, and all these places. So there are ways of doing it. You
yeah,
just don't have the tactile sensation of doing a lot of this in person. You
no.
have to you have to hope that the mail gets it to you. Yeah, and that's the one difference. And I think someone actually doing it in person would be one of the differences.
Yeah.
I don't know if it worked. I think it would. I'm not 100% positive. You're never 100% positive until somebody does it.
Right.
Well, Rich, like I said, let
I
me
mean,
throw
like,
out today's hobby headline news and get your thoughts. Um, Apparently, there's a 2026 Topps Chrome Otani dual logo man, one of one, two autograph kind of card that has quite the bounty. Have you heard about this?
the $12 million bounty, I sure have.
Okay,
It's done
so
a
Oh,
it's
it's up
done
to
a
from
wonderful
10. All
thing.
right. Wow.
Yes, it's
yeah,
up from 10.
in
I
one
saw
day
12 on
throughout the day,
Facebook
it's gone
today.
up to like 13, I heard.
Wow. That's
But
crazy.
yeah,
Okay, so 13, keep going. I mean,
yeah,
somebody just paid for their kids' education and then their retirement with that.
And more and some. Yes,
I
that's
mean,
And
this
then
right.
is
some,
some
yes.
life-changing money, Rich. What I wanted to ask you though is, overall, and it's getting news from, it's getting reported on by several like credible news sources, but how does something like this impact the hobby? Based on like skeins from a couple of years ago to now $13 million Otani cards. Like how do you think this affects like I guess public perception, those of us that have been in the hobby for a few years and folks like yourself that's been like a long time hobbyist.
How many of us want to hit the lottery? That's really what this is. You're hitting the lottery. And we all want to hit the lottery. And if you just buy a pack and you get the card, which is possible, we don't know which SKU it was in. And if it's in a blaster box and it shows up out of a blaster box for a minimal in the hobby, I'm going to turn it minimal, but for a minimal $50 bill, you just got yourself $13 million.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that to happen? We
Well,
all want that to happen. I will make that trade in a minute. I'll spend 50 for 13 million any day of the week and more
Yeah.
times on Sunday.
and I'm sure
So,
Fanatics and Tops is banking on that. They're saying, hey, how many people will spend the 50 for the chance of getting 13 million?
and a lot. I mean, Fanatics is very smart that way. But here's the other thing. All these things bring attention to the hobby. And I granted, I don't know how much the lottery aspect is good, but some people will stick. And the ones that, hey, I really had fun doing this,
Yes.
they'll
Yeah.
stick. And the other thing you have to remember is there are price points for everything.
Mhm.
During the World Cup, one of the wax stores, of which they're in the 30s, they had a trading afternoon of Panini stickers during the World Cup. They drew 3 times as many people as they expected. And there was not as much money as they wanted to make because the store got too crowded. It's a good problem to have. They did okay, but not as well. But they were so overwhelmed. On my way home, there's a wax store on my way home. I picked up an album and some packs for my wife. She got it. She loved the World Cup. She got addicted to it. At $3 a sticker pack. She,
Yeah.
a few packs a week. She was fine with it. It wasn't that expensive, and she knows that this is not going to be making her money. And when we had our 5-year-old great niece over, they spent at least 3 hours one day opening the packs and putting the stickers in the album. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's the point. Not everything is money related. And understand, we've made our living at some point off the hobby. When we all worked for Beckett, we were getting a paycheck. We've made money off the hobby, but not everything in the hobby is money driven. And
Yeah.
that's something
Yeah.
we have to remember. I run a show for my synagogue. I'm going to do some self promotion. Our next one is Labor Day weekend, Sunday and Monday at the Adat Chaverim Synagogue, 6,000 Custer Road, number 9, Plano, Texas, 75023. Sunday of Labor Day weekend, 10 to 4. Monday, 11 to 3. There's a suggested donation. As I tell people, if you don't like it, well, I'll give you your money back. The Brotherhood's doing just fine, and we've done just fine without being greedy. We've never been greedy with it, and we've done fine. And that's without money. We used to have bags with cards and prizes. We don't do, but now I remember of one show, maybe a year ago, We had somebody who was thrilled. They were going through a dime box because at the prices I charge for tables, which is $40 a day, and if you really have trouble, we can work out a deal if something really bad happens because I don't have to pay for the room. The only thing I have to pay for now, frankly, are the bagels and cream cheese and
Yeah.
coffee for the dealers
Yeah. There
and
you go.
security. So I have to pay. I have more expenses now than I had when we brought the show back because we didn't have security originally, but after some things locally in Dallas and after some of the things going on in the Middle East, we have armed security at the show now, and so those I have to pay for. If I only have to sell 4 tables for 2 days, frankly. If I sell 4 tables at full price, we've broken even. I
Wow.
don't, and that's if nobody walks in the door.
Well, Rich,
So
let me
I'm
throw
not
this at you then.
that sell a lot
You
across,
mentioned card
but
shows, and here in the Metroplex, thanks to your newsletter, I think it was in early June. There was a weekend where here in the Metroplex, we had 4 card shows going. A couple on
Wow.
Saturday, a couple on Sunday. Is there a point where like this market's going to be oversaturated? And what do you think happens next?
well, we've been here before, 1990s. We've been here before where there were 30 some odd stores in the DFW area. There were 30,000 store. We had at Beckett, I think before the two of you came here, we had 30,000 card store accounts. I mean, at the 91 National, we basically had a group of 6 tables, and it was literally the first corporate, technically the first corporate, it wasn't a corporate booth, but it was technically the first corporation that sold something at the National. And we paid for, I can't tell you how many people at the National selling back issues and books and magazines and all of that. That's how hot it is. And we're approaching that today. And one of the things to remember, and you're right, Kelly, there's definitely a growth. And I'll get to the newsletter. I'm going to go back to the thing. I'll go back to what I was finishing about Adat, was we had somebody a couple shows ago very happy. His cousin was in the 1990s cheerleader set, and he found the card in a dime box of her, and he never had one, and he was
Wow.
thrilled. I mean, he got thrilled for a dime. I
So,
mean,
yeah.
I would have given him, this is your cousin, take the card. If it's going to be a dime and it's the cousin here, just take the card. But the point was, he was thrilled, and if it would have been a quarter, it would have been $1. He would have been fine with it. It's irrelevant. But the
Yeah.
point was, he had a minimal cost to find a card he really wanted. And so, yes, there's the lottery. People are chasing the really high end stuff, but there's room for me too, who doesn't spend more than $1 on a card. And
Yeah.
I buy some packs, My friend, one of my friends at Wax, had a donation for me, and I buy some packs as a courtesy. So that's the most I technically spend on cards when I buy the packs. And my wife saw open packs when I got home, and she pulled a 2025 Topps Heritage Real Autograph Red Burt B. Holmblye 11 card.
Yeah. Nice. Beyond
Me.
Bly 11.
That's that card paid for that trip.
What a
You
great
know,
picture. Yeah.
yeah, and he's a Hall of Famer. The card's numbered to 75 or 76. I mean, but the point is that wasn't that expensive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's good.
and and so my point is you can work around the edges. Are we going to have some point where it explodes? Probably. When? I don't know. And I'm always tell people history tells us it's going to explode at some point. And
Yeah.
don't try to time the market. If you're older and you have a collection, sell into the up market.
Well,
Don't wait. Don't wait to try to time it. Now, 2 years ago, that probably wouldn't be as good as it was today. You would probably gotten less money. But you always in business try to sell into the up market and buy in the down market. So
yeah.
there's always things you can do. I'm an optimist when it comes to that because there's always ways around it to enjoy your hobby at whatever price point you want to be at.
Yeah. Yeah. Rich, I don't think that it's a bad thing on what's happening. Like the saturation point will come at a point, but it's like you mentioned, it's good for the hobby. There's so many different eyes getting into it My son has the Panini book from World Cup, and it's great. And all the non-traditional sports cards that are coming out, the WNBA is exploding. I mean, World Cup soccer. I mean, it was great to see that, and that's getting more people involved in the hobby, and it's very interesting to me. So I'm interested to know: do you collect any of those cards personally?
I
But
don't
besides the
really
Panini
collect any.
stickers for your
I
for
don't really.
family or
Actually, I don't. The only thing I technically collect at this point are hobby or signed hobby cards.
okay, okay,
Like if you had a card, I want a signed copy of it. Other than that, I don't really collect anything. That they go into a box that never shows up in my sales or my inventory or my collection or whatever. I've gone through this so often, I don't care. I don't really care. I'm also at an age where it's not worth it to me to, if something happened to me tomorrow, I'd be burdening everybody with the stuff I had. So the stuff comes in, I sooner or later I move it out, and then I play again, and it's fine because but I don't really collect anything in the way I used to many years ago. And I'm okay with that.
Well,
But being a collector and understanding what collectors do helps me in what I pick out from the value boxes.
yeah, yeah. The passion of the hobby still. I mean, it's still it's very important. I mean, that's it. It's collectible. It's a hobby.
well,
It is,
Rich,
and I live
Rich, you
12 minutes from the Dallas Card Show. I mean, it's wonderful. I'm 12 minutes from the Dallas Card Show.
Yeah.
It's an easy local trip. It's not like I'm going on highways or anything. It's all local roads. It's 3 songs on the radio, and I'm there.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm
you
about
mentioned
30 minutes from the NTX arena.
well, Rich, I was going to ask you. You kind of alluded to this about your current state in the hobby, and you mentioned on Dr. Beckett's podcast previously that you had, if I remember correctly, you had sold like your whole collection at one point in your life. What's that process like? And clean slate and
Well,
like
that,
moving
that
forward. And
process, I sold my collection, my inventory when I got married. I paid for my wedding and some extra things. And it was a process. Somebody wanted to get involved, so they were perfect, and I gave a good price. And then about 3 years ago, the person who bought Nick's from the person who bought Nick's, so the second person down the street after Nick sold to his attorney, who then sold to this guy Mike. Mike and I had a number, and he came to a Dallas card show and basically threw the money on the table. And I went and saw Jerica and paid her for the tables for the weekend, and left. And 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 I work most Sundays, so that was like, okay, I don't even go back to the show. I don't want to deal with this money at the show and feel like I have money burning in my pocket.
Right,
So
right, right.
I just worked. I mean, honestly, I didn't even bother going back to the show. And when you sell, you sell. And I'm happy to do that. I give good prices on bulk to people who buy, and I'm okay with that. And
Yeah.
it keeps the circle going,
Yes, keeps everything moving. Yeah,
and it's
that's
and
right.
it and it's okay. I have a dear friend of mine, 84 years old. He spoke to me on the phone on Saturday. His wife is battling dementia, and he's taking care of her. And there are things we've gone round and round on for many years. And there was something where he said Golden said they would give him $12,000 for it. And I said, you keep telling me you have kids. Well, instead of them trying to figure out what to do with it, sell the item and have that 12,000 for your kids.
Yeah,
At some point, you got to understand you can't have what you want to have. I have one or two items that will be the last things out of my life. It's a little big to display, but way back in the day, one of my Beckett teammates, and this man was a nice man from Philly. We talked about him on one of Dr. Beckett's podcasts. He was part of my Philly connection group, but he did wonderful card montages. And I sent my teammate up. I said, "You're looking for so and so. You're handing him his card. You're giving him my address, and then him and I will work it out. You're doing that. And he says, yeah. And I handed the guy the card. He knew exactly what to do. It's like, yeah, Ernie knows what he's doing. And Ernie, for years, featured it in his little catalog because he was proud of the work. He found a signed 8x10 of this player. Then he found some like little pennant, little things to put on it to adorn it. And we had all the cards. I had all the cards from his playing career. And it really looked nice. And that's one of the last things I'll ever sell because that's the only major league player from my hometown.
Okay.
So and that's plus it's big. So,
Yeah.
that's like one of the last things to go because you have to have a very specialized person to buy that. And I was a specialized person.
Yeah.
But so I will keep something, but not, that would be like, okay. But if I have to, if somebody says, Rich, I have to take that when I buy everything from you. Okay,
Yeah.
take it. I mean, you're buying everything. I know I can't replace that. And that's true. You have to understand you can't, if you're really selling everything, there's going to be things you cannot replace.
Yeah.
And you can't replace it at what you bought for it. So you just have to play out different ways.
Well, you enjoy it. You enjoy it for many years, and there's a cost to enjoy it, and there's a time stamp on it. So
Well, and you know what? The enjoyment I get from doing it is as good as sometimes the money.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Yep. Yeah, that's great. Hey, so the Knicks place you guys keep referencing, Kelly, that's a place you used to go to on lunch breaks from Beckett, right?
Yeah, that was right
Yeah,
down the street from us.
Beltline, Arapahoe, something like that. Was it somewhere up there?
Campbell, I think
Clayton
it's
Campbell.
Campbell and Arapahoe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Campbell. Yeah, I remember that place.
Is it Arapahoe? I thought it was It's Clayton Campbell.
Point
Point
and Campbell.
Campbell.
Yes, near
Okay.
UTD.
Well, when you mentioned Rich, when you mentioned Knicks, I was like something. Just all these memories flooded back. Going with Kelly and like a bunch of guys, and like would have like lunch and go buy a couple cards, a couple packs. So
Yeah, I mean, and there were some good places to eat in that shop. There still are. There's Campisi's at the time. They had a really good lunch special.
oh yeah,
If you wanted to spend more money, there's Cindy's if you wanted to spend more money. There
Cindy. Oh, I
was
remember
fast
that.
food places across the street. There was also Carmine's Pizza across the street. Now there's a Cane's Chicken, I think, across the street, and there's some other places. I mean, you've got plenty of places you can eat there too. If you want to expand your lunch hour a little and go there, you got plenty of options. And now there's a Wax down the street at Preston and Campbell. And if you like Jewish deli, you can literally walk, it's maybe 100 feet away to the place I consider the
Oh,
best
Cat's
Jewish
Deli's
style
great.
deli.
That's good.
Yeah, and it's Deli News. And
Yeah.
it's about 100 feet away from the Wax store, what they call Wax North Dallas at Preston and Campbell. I mean, that's even better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good places to eat next in the same strip mall as card stores. Yeah, that's a win. Even
Yeah.
the Wax down the street from me has Poor Richard's Cafe, basically right next door to the Wax store.
Do you
So I
get
mean,
some
that's
foam? Open up a whole wax box of cards. I mean, that's a perfect day, right? Good
yes.
afternoon.
Well, Rich, I was going to
So,
ask you, how important do you think, as we're kind of winding down here, hobby relationships, like how important are they in your eyes?
Relationships are super important. You know, honestly, I would have had because I didn't really push it, but I would have had a packed schedule at the National. And it's all people that know me. I got one call, Rich, you're invited to this and this. Oh, thank you, but I'm not going. One of our former Beckett teammates invited me to meet him at the upper deck booth this weekend on Friday. And as I said, I'm not going. There's some good, and I'm going to say this, very minor health reasons. I'm fine, but it's a very minor thing, but it's enough where I don't want to mess with it.
Yeah, no, hey,
And
health is most important.
and I'm
Without our health,
no,
nothing.
it's very minor, but it's something I don't want to mess with. And
Yeah,
when they scheduled it and I saw what day it was, I said, okay, good, perfect. Now I don't have to worry about what excuse am I making to go to the National. I can actually say
yeah.
I have a legitimate reason not to go. But it's very important to have relationships. I have relationships with the people I buy from the value boxes on. We have relationships. And I mean, so far it's just buying and selling and then chatting, but like we chat about other stuff too. like there was, and that's okay. We talk about things. And there are some people I talk to at the Dallas Card Show that I don't buy from really, but I still chat. I chat with the local store owners because they are they are a window too as to what's going on. So I'm I am reasonably well connected still in the Dallas area. And a lot of it is because I make it a point to keep the relationships going. And as Kelly alluded to, the newsletter I have with approximately 1,000 people who get it each week and a good open percent rate, I make it a point. I try to include stuff about shows and stores. I can't tell you how many people just want to know where the shows are. I want to know if any of the wax stores are doing something, or if or if Nick's is doing something, or if RJ Duke's, they're opening a second store. When are they going to have a grand opening for their second store? Or my friend Scott Mann, who had a store in Fort Worth, and he had done my shows pre-pandemic, yada, yada, yada. And so I believe in promoting both shows and stores and I try to have relationships because it's important. It really is important. And I did a lot of show trips back in the day, and I called them show and store trips. And one of the most important things I did was figure out who to talk to and what type of relationship to build.
You want to keep
And
the
I still
community,
talk to some of those people to
yeah,
this day.
keep the community going. Yes, absolutely.
Well, definitely, Rich, as we're wrapping up, I'll include your upcoming September show in the show notes. Is there anything
And
else
I'll
you'd like
link,
to
and
share
they can
out?
email me for the newsletter.
Okay, and I'll put that in the show notes as well. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, let's just the show coming up. I will say next March, I've already scheduled the date, is our bar mitzvah show at the synagogue. 13 years. It will be 13 years since, I don't know if it's
Nice.
the exact same date, but it's 13 years. And instead of Memorial Day weekend, it will be March,
Oh, okay.
which is when the show used to be. The show used to be March and then Labor Day weekend. So next year we're going back to March. We're not going to be able, I don't have the bandwidth to do prizes, but we will have a silent auction. And we will probably feature something special in the food world, that's for our guests. Probably cookies or cake or something like that, that we will give, everybody's welcome to it. We're going to make sure that it's free. That stuff is free. In addition, I don't want to charge for that. If we have to, it'll be a minimal charge like we do. We charge $1 for a hot dog, $1 for a drink, and $1 for a small bag of chips. It's the $3. It's the Sam's Club lunch
It's a
or the
collectibles
Costco,
Costco. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love it.
it's
the
a meal
collectibles
deal.
at Costco,
Collectibles Costco.
collectibles Costco, because there's
Yeah,
no reason to overcharge.
that's
And
right.
we still make, and on that price, we're still making some money. We made more money until this inflation, but we was still making money. But it's $1, the hot dogs, chips, and soda for $3.
Yeah.
That's you can't beat that in today's world.
Bargain.
If you go to a restaurant and get a soda, it's $3.
It would be funny if you talk to somebody there and go, "Are you here? What cards you're into?" "Oh, I'm just here for the hot dog."
There
They'd
are
be like,
people there
"Wow,
are, there are people who have done that.
wow, that's
Some of
great."
my card collector and dealer friends, there's one of my friends lives in the Philippines. And before he got there, he was like, the show was like 3 days before he left. He stopped, he says, I'm packing, I'm not buying any cards. I'm here for lunch. And he really was here for lunch.
Yeah,
And
great.
a great guy. And at one of I always told him, the Labor Day weekend's not as good as the March show. This is pre-pandemic. He goes to me at the end of it, Rich, I made $3,000. If you're thinking this is not as good, I'm shuddering how much I would have made in March.
Yeah, yeah, great.
And at the last show, I had some friends come down from Arkansas. One of them made $2,000 in the first 2 hours, so I never asked him again how he did. I said, okay, he's covered his expenses.
Yeah.
Another of the other Arkansas guy sold a 54 Ernie bags at the show. So
Mm.
he was only there one day and he was pretty happy. One of my other friends did a $3,000 deal. I mean, so I kid about it, but there are some serious collectors with serious money that walk into my show.
Yeah, great.
But I
That's
kid
good.
about it. And because I run it as a low pressure, low cost thing, I tell people, hey, it's just fun. But there are people with real money that come in.
If you buy a 54 Topps Ernie Banks, do you get a free hot dog? That'd be my question.
I would, if he didn't offer it to him, he should have.
He should have. Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank
And
you,
the
Rich,
same
for
guy who did
stopping
all the
by,
money
man.
bought it. What?
As I say, I want to thank you for stopping by, and we've got to do this
Oh,
again.
thank you. I love chatting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I took too much of your time talking.
Time's flying.
Great. Awesome.
Well, on that note, I appreciate everyone that's watching Card Blitz for the views, the shares, the likes. Tell a friend, and we'll see y'all on the next one.
Yeah. Sounds good, Kelly. Rich, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Kelly, good to see you, my friends.